Hello, ladies. It's about well, a little bit past 10 too, so we've got a few more minutes before we go before we start the workshop. You're all tuned in, and we should have video because we're not in a van in Florida. Anybody who didn't hear last month, the reason we were having no video was because when I was using cellular data to do the broadcast down in Florida, it was restricted data, and so they automatically delete the video portion. Of course, we didn't know that until I got back here and talked to Elaine. And she told me, oh, yeah, they'll automatically, if there's not enough bandwidth, they'll just automatically delete your video. So I explained that last month because I knew about it last month. So we have this month, and we're going to do mom stuff tonight. And we have next month, which I'm guessing we'll probably do dad stuff because we do usually do mom and dad in May and June. And then we have a break for the summer. It's starting, it actually felt like summer today. It reached 27 degrees. And I was very grateful for that. It's like, yay, finally it's starting to do the warm-up thing. So Judy's got me totally addicted to water kefir, which is a fermented water process. It's all her fault. She completely addicted me. And so then I had to go you have to get grains, which I got off. She had taken a course. Judy took a course on fermenting at Cartbridge. And so she got grains from that. And so I contacted the teacher and she gave me grains. So I can now start doing my own water kefir because now I just want it. And it's interesting because it's a natural probiotic and it's naturally good for your digestive enzymes. And so I take probiotics and I take M5, which is a digestive enzyme. And when I drink the kefir, I don't need to take those. When I test, it's like, nope, don't take those. Okay. So that's kind of cool. And I was concerned because the way you make it, you have to feed the grains sugar so they'll ferment, and then you you strain them into a bottle, and it actually it's like it's carbonated like pop. Like when you open the lid of the bottle, it literally goes pop. But I talked to Bruce at Living Science, the nutrition guy, and he said, no, it's because it eats the sugar in the fermenting process, so it's not a sugar to your body. You're like it's actually super good for you. So it's all Judy's fault. She's completely addicted me to water kefir. That's my new favorite thing. I know there's a milk kefir too. I don't know anything about that. Judy says, I see me in the window. You'll only see you. Yeah, see, so you'll see you if the box is around you. You're only on screen if the box is around you, which I just did. Otherwise, the box is around me, so I'm on screen. Judy's the operator. She's behind the scenes doing all the relaying the questions and stuff. Because if I try and pay attention to running the show when I'm channeling, it won't go well. It won't go well because I get a little bit stoned because I'm busy watching the light show and all that kind of stuff. 4 more minutes. Oh, lots of people tonight. It's interesting. One of the things I do is as we tune in for the evening, is I go through the list of people in the group to make sure I've got everybody in the energy, because lots of people can't tune in live because of time zones and life. And I know Annika's in Finland. I think she's 5 hours different, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning or something for her when the workshop is on. And Andre's in Mexico, so sometimes she can tune in because she's only an hour different, but life. 2 more minutes. So Pat is saying she just listened to the March workshop today and swears she did the work already, and it must have been because I had her in the energy. Yes. And lots of people who aren't physically attending the workshop relate to me that, yeah, they had symptoms while I was doing it. And that's normal. You know, you're in the energy whether you realize it or not. Sometimes you're cognizant of what's going on, and sometimes it's just a process that you've been through. Sometimes it comes into your conscious awareness, and sometimes it doesn't. And lots of people will say to me that, you know, they weren't able to make it live for the workshop, and then when they listened after, it was like, I was there for this. I'm sure I heard these words. And that's always funny. It's very deja vu, right? And it's how to, because I always, whenever I'm doing work myself, I open it up to the people who want it. And I spend a lot of time preparing for this because there's the work that's going on, and then there's figuring out how to take the piece that will fit in 2 hours and how to convey it, you know, because for me, a lot of the work I'm doing is a light show. You know, I'm working with flows of energy and not necessarily with words in, and I'll get images and things like that. Sometimes there's words. So I have to bring it to my consciousness enough to be able to articulate things and say them in a way that we hope is coherent. You know, some days I do better with coherent than others, but, you know, mostly I try and get it coherent, and feedback helps. Um, so there's a fair chunk of work that goes into, you know, getting it into a state that makes it attainable for you guys, right? Pat says the emotional shifts are awesome. Yes, they are awesome. That is a fact. And all right, it's 7. So this is Owning Your Fire for May the 9th, 2018. So I had said we're going to do mom stuff. So for some time now, probably more than a month, I've been working on connection and awareness of disconnects that go back to, and this is something we've said before, is that when you're very young and you love unconditionally, you know how to love unconditionally when you're that young, you really think that if you love the people around you, that should fix everything. The problem is they're not necessarily capable of accepting that love, and they make their own choices about the experience they want to have. And so the child responds to that with pain and shuts off discernment. So what you'll do is you turn off your comprehension of what's going on with others. You turn off your awareness that, you know, just because you love them doesn't mean they're going to not choose pain. They will choose whatever ride they want to have. And so we're stuck with the challenge of understanding that their choice to have pain does not diminish the quality of our love, and also to deal with how we feel experiencing the fact that they're choosing pain. And those things are difficult, and we've worked on them before. And what I found I was doing was working way deep down brain stem stuff. And then Judy and I were talking to Patricia Wall, because we do like an R&D thing where we play with energy together. And Patricia O'Reilly said, when your mother is a fetus, so when your mother is a fetus in your grandmother, that fetus already contains all of the eggs that she will have in her life, including the egg that will become you. Now, the interesting thing about that, because your mind can, if your mind is like mine, it immediately explodes in the implications of that. And, you know, we know there's genetic karma. Okay, so there's, you know, genetic karma, which we tend to carry at the brainstem level. There's social karma, which is the whole tribal pressures, things, expectations that come from the tribe, that comes at the limbic level. And then there's the spiritual karma, which you actually carry at the cognitive level, interestingly enough. So we've done genetic karma. We've done lots of clearing around that. But the thing is, energy work is always about aim. Everything is about aim. It's about how you aim. And so if we do cell breathing, for instance, you're flushing out stuff that you picked up or whatever. But if this is an egg, like how many times have we gone back to conception? Well, if that's an egg, it's before conception. So we haven't aimed there. We haven't aimed there. And so if you think about it, that egg inside your mother, who is a fetus inside her mother, is getting all this genetic imprinting. And chances are really good, if you think about that egg, it's being bombarded by all the stuff going on with your mom as a fetus. So she's got, like, we've done lots of in utero work. Mom probably hasn't. And then also, she's being bombarded with the stuff from her mother. So chances are she's got anger going on. She's got, disappointment because she's coming in as a spirit and discovering life is not a pool of love. And so if you kind of think of, there you are, that egg inside the fetus, and you're not you yet, like the you is not attached to the egg at that point. Okay. And it wouldn't be, just in case you're wondering if there's a predetermination, it doesn't work that way. You're not attached to that egg yet. Okay. But that egg is kind of like, it's a genetic potential, if you will, kind of stewing in all of the anger and the fear and stuff that went on for your mother as a fetus. And most of you have done in utero work for yourself, so like, think about all the stuff you cleared from your in uterine experience that your mother hasn't cleared. So that egg is without an identity, without any kind of discernment, and completely stewing in all of that. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to clean that mess. I suspect, I never want to make, unilateral statements, because who knows what's going to happen next month. I suspect what we'll do is mom stuff this month and dad stuff next month in terms of clearing up this kind of genetic stuff. For sure, we're going to start with this clearing up the egg thing. Now, as I said, energy work is all about aim. And I had been doing all this work at the brainstem level, and it's hard enough to work at the brainstem level because it's below emotion, it's below consciousness. It's like trying to aim at a blink. You have to really focus. And one of the hilarious things is I've been doing all this work at the brainstem level, so I'm covered in fungus. It's a joke. Like, the bottom of my feet is peeling. All my gums are, and it's fungus. So I ordered some mushroom stuff because fungus is good for fungus, so there's, so I got some stuff from that because it's just detox. I'm clearing so much stuff that it's coming out. The one I like is called Natural Defense, and it's got 7 different mushrooms in it, and it's fungus. It's fungus. It's good for you. And I just got them off Amazon. So it's, detox is always a fun thing. The thing is, this egg stuff doesn't really belong to you. The egg doesn't really belong to you at that point. So what we're going to have to do is go at the moment of conception and clear it there. You can't really go back, like, well, okay, you can pretend you're going back to before your moment of conception and clearing the egg, and it'll not be true. So you can pretend you're doing that, and there's all kinds of, I noticed, there's always interesting to see people will have, oh, you can do energy and you can go and aim it like this. Well, the thing is, it's not yours. If it's not yours, at the point where your mother is a fetus, that's her body, and you can't go make changes in somebody else's body. So anything that presents that you can correct something like that, to go back like that, like that's, I'm sorry, it's just a lie. And when people want to believe it's happening, it's because they're doing exactly the same thing the child does when they don't want to know. La la la, it's all fine. We'll sing kumbaya and fix everything. Well, it's not in your domain. You can't. It's like trying to work on somebody else. It doesn't work. Okay. Yes, okay, I feel all those questions. When people do healing work, what they're doing is creating a resonance. So if I work with someone, I shift energy and I put that energy around them. I can't make them accept it. All I do is create an opportunity, and it's whether they're ready or not. And a lot of the work that happens with someone is bringing them to a place where they're ready to do that, where they're ready to make that shift. And you can never make someone. And it's, in a way, it's like, oh, here's a song you could sing. And if you like that song, feel free to sing along. That's kind of what you're doing. I think that's why, like, if you're doing healing work, really, if you're doing it right and you get it, you can never be arrogant. Because, like, you got nothing. You can't make anything happen. You can suggest, you could provide opportunities, but, like, you can't make anything happen. So why would you be arrogant about anything? And that's why I think we have such a hard time with command, because in order to truly embrace command, you have to truly let go of determining other people's outcome. And we really don't like to do that. We really want to pretend. And, it's understanding the difference between influence and effect. You can influence someone's outcome, but you can't make them. Marie says, okay, so when we do through time and across time, this is about our own soul, not about our genetic past. So when we do through time and across time, we're looking at our own spiritual karma, which is in your domain, and you're looking at your genetic karma, but it's the genetic karma you own. So the moment of conception, that egg and that sperm that come together to be you are now yours. Prior to that moment, prior to the moment of conception, they're not yours. So we can clear the genetic karma within us. We can't go back and clear it in your grandmother's womb. So what I'm saying is, when your mother is a fetus inside your grandmother, she has the eggs inside her. Your mother, the fetus, has the eggs inside her. And one of those eggs will eventually be you. The thing is, you don't have any domain over that. So the moment you have conception, you can clear the karma. You can clear the genetic karma, you can clear your spiritual karma, all of that, because now it's yours. You can't go back to when your mother was a fetus and clear it. So we've done tons of clearing genetic karma. The thing is, energy work is about aim. Energy work is always about aim. And I've never sat and thought before, oh, there's that egg that's eventually going to be conceived to be me. Okay, there's that egg sitting in this stew of my mother as a fetus. I've never thought about that before, so I've never aimed at it before. Okay, we've done stuff where, if you do unlock, you can call out your mother and your grandmother and your. I often call out a figure that represents my genetic history, or my female genetic history, my male genetic. I've done all of that kind of stuff, and it will go exactly as far as your domain, because with unlock, everything is about what's inside you. Everything you're calling out is something you're holding inside you. That's how you release. And so now what I'm talking about is understanding the stew that egg came from. Now, obviously, the sperm came from a stew too. I think we'll do that next month. Who knows? We might end up there tonight. Who knows? Because there is the experience that your mother had in utero when that egg kind of came into being as she developed as a fetus. And then there's all the time she carried that egg inside her, all of that stuff. That egg is imbued with all of that imprinting, with all of those emotional experiences. It was in that energy all that time. And so every time we do work, and I do through time and across time, we're clearing whatever we're aiming at. I've never aimed at the stew. I've never aimed at clearing from that egg the stew that it was riding in, if you will. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, I say never. I don't remember ever doing that. That doesn't mean we didn't. Okay, I simply don't remember. And so I think, anyway, I also think it'd be useful to do. So here's what I think we're going to do. First, we're going to pay attention to our breath. So think about letting your breath be slow and low. And think about this as kind of like always with energy work. You can do it. It's about figuring out how to aim. So the way I kind of visualize this is I visualize this egg that's been in this stew ever since your mother was a fetus, in the stew of your mother's energy, in the stew of all her emotional experiences and fears and all that kind of stuff. And so it's you know, my husband makes pickled eggs. I don't like pickled eggs, but he enjoys pickled eggs. If you take an egg and you put it in vinegar, the whole egg will taste of vinegar. Okay, so in a way, it's kind of like this stew has permeated this egg, and it's not like an emotion. It's not even like an instinct. This is like vinegar would go into a pickled egg. It just is. You know, and it's that, you know, Patricia Wall uses the expression, you know, fish in water. Fish don't know about water because they're in it. It's that, like, if you've got an egg that's been pickled, how could you possibly separate the vinegar from the egg? How could you possibly do that? It wouldn't work with pickled eggs, but it can work with energy. The thing is, energy is always about aim. So let's do it with one cell first, just to get the feel of it. Okay, so pick a cell in your body, any cell, and let's play with the cell breathing a little bit. So picture that spark of light at the center of the cell, and just for now, just focus on the one cell because we're playing with the technique. Okay, so breathing in, you breathe into that spark of light. The spark of light grows, and as you breathe out, the light flushes out through the cell. Okay. Marie says she got it. Okay. Funny how she had it weirdly going down a maternal line. Yeah. And I'm sure there's yeah, Mackie says the environment. Exactly. Right. So breathing into the light at the center of the cell, as you breathe out, flush. So here's the thing, that cell has DNA in it. That cell has DNA in it, the one cell. Okay, so just stay focused on the one cell for now, because I know lots of you just want to run ahead and calm yourself down and stay focused, because it's all about the aim. So we're going to really fine tune where the aim is. So we're going to find the place in that cell that carries the vinegar, carries the effect of the stew. And so it's going to be in the construct of the DNA, and it's also going to be in the histones. So what histones are, if you picture the DNA helix, histones are proteins that determine which aspects of the spiral of the DNA are active. So whatever color eyes you have, there's a histone that's basically clicked onto all the potentials that you carry in your DNA for what your eye color could be. And one of them is clicked by the presence of that histone. Okay. And, you know, how tall you are, like all kinds of things that are genetically determined are determined by the presence of the histone attached to the helix of the DNA. Now, in quote recently, you know, science has discovered things like predisposition to depression, predisposition to all kinds of things that they didn't think had anything to do with DNA. Predisposition to, it's like, you know, some people are glass half full, some people are glass half empty. All these predispositions, all these things that you could call character, are actually determined by the histones. Okay. And that's why we can change stuff, because we can actually change the histones. All right. And now, there's always somebody who says, oh, well, that means I could change my eye color, right? Yeah, you could. You absolutely could. I think it's a lot of work when there's other things to me that I would prefer to have as an effect. And what would happen if you did that? Because of the way we interact with reality, if you shifted the color of your eyes, you probably won't remember that you ever had a different color eyes, and nobody else would either. I've seen that happen. And I've seen it happen where, because I was kind of in the healer space, I saw the change, but nobody else realized the change occurred because they're in the timeline where it occurred, right? And you can say, well, okay, but if it happened to me, wouldn't I remember? Probably not. You probably wouldn't. And so if you care, sure, go, have fun. I bet you there are lots of things you've shifted that you don't remember that you've shifted. Lots and lots. And I've had that conversation lots of times with people where they say, well, I've done all this energy work for all these years, and really what have I accomplished? And I go, oh, well, what about this and this and this and this and this and this and this? And they go, oh yeah, that happened. And it's almost like your brain deletes it, right? And part of that is keeping you in the fabric of reality and the agreements we've made about the nature of reality. That's not a bad thing. It's okay, right? Does it, you're only going to get hung up on that if you feel like you got to prove something. And if you feel like you got to prove something, that's an issue. Because the need to prove something means you're looking for external validation. And what you want to be doing is looking inside yourself and say, okay, who's the part of me? What part, what child, what part, what element of me desperately needs someone to tell them that they're right? And it's a symptom of not loving yourself. Okay. So anytime you catch yourself looking for that external validation, you're looking for pain. And so now I'm going to say validation is very nice. So when I get it, I really enjoy it. It's when you catch yourself needing it or catching yourself wanting it, that's a different thing. So having it is fun. Needing it is a symptom of not loving yourself enough. Okay. That desire to feel right, that desire to prove you're right or convince people you're right, all of that is a symptom of not loving yourself enough. And so it's about looking inside and getting to that place of, who's the one inside me who needs that validation, and you have to go in and give them the love. All right. So back to that cell and paying attention to that cell. And where we usually focus on the spark of light and breathing out through the cell. I want you to look inside the cell and find the place where the DNA is, the place where the histone is. All the histones, sorry. Lots of DNA, lots of histones. And if you try and figure out, where the histones go and stuff like that's not how you aim with energy. Aiming with energy is all about intent. And so the intent here is to replace vinegar with love. And that doesn't make vinegar evil. That's just my metaphor. Vinegar is good for all, especially apple cider vinegar, good for all kinds of things. It's just recognizing there is an effect from your mother's experience in utero and through her life. There's an effect. And you could imbue that egg with love. You could imbue the DNA that is a result of that with love. And it's about where we're aiming to put that love. Yes. So however you perceive it, sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can hear the song of it, sometimes it's a smell, whatever works for you in terms of aim. What you're thinking of is, there is an effect on your DNA because the egg that was the start was soaked in your mother's experience and in your mother's body. And so we want to go in there and imbue all of that with love. And I want you to remember that when you're imbuing with love, it's as important to accept love as it is to put the love in. It's important to give love to that DNA, to that egg, to those histones. It's to give the love, also to give the capacity to have love, to accept love, to feel love, to command. Because command is a function of love. That's it. And see, so there's discernment. Okay, so here, yeah, see? So here's what happens. The moment you start looking at this, what happens is you start to feel that thing, which is, what we always bump into, which is the more we go into that place of love, the more we're aware that other people are in pain. And so you have to kind of pause and forgive them. You have to forgive them for choosing pain, and also forgive them for the effect that pain has on you. Okay, so be aware of that. We're staying with one cell because there's work we have to do around it, as you can see. I want you to think about what the child inside you needs. Imagine a 2-year-old who's, recognizing that her mother's in pain, loves her mother to bits, okay? Heartbroken because the love she's giving to her mother is not solving this. Heartbroken. Think about what you want to give to that child. Think about what you want to give to that child. And if you can, write it down, because we'll share it with the group, because everybody will think of different things. That's it. So we want things like compassion, comfort, we don't learn how to view the world as a kind of a big picture view until puberty, and then it only starts developing at puberty, and some people never get it. So there's a kind of a step back you can take sometimes, and so the kind of step back it is like, if you see teenagers behaving like teenagers, you think they're just being teenagers. That's what they're gonna do, and that'll pass. It'll pass. And you see, mothers with young children, somebody who hasn't slept through the night in, I don't know, a year, and they're exhausted. That'll pass. And so there's things that people go through that, if you're able to take a step back and kind of recognize the cycle of life, recognize the effects of circumstances, then you get that awareness. This will pass. This will pass. And sometimes people need support, but in the end, time will solve so much of it, And if people get stuck in states, so if the teenager gets stuck in their pain, in the pain of transition from child to adult, if they get stuck trying to figure out their identity, if the young mother gets stuck in feeling exhausted, if somebody who hates their job gets stuck in, like, they can't see out, they can't see that they could go somewhere else. People get stuck all the time. If you can get a step back, then you can see past the stuckness, and then solutions become available. Things become accessible that weren't accessible. with a little kid like that, they don't actually have the brain wiring to have a big picture view. The thing is, they have a spirit, and the spirit can always have a big picture view. So what we want to give them is the wisdom of their spirit, right? So that they're not trapped in that child brain view. Like he says, affirmation that the love is recognized, felt, and accepted, and gratitude for the love that's offered and available. Good. See? So think about this. Think about what you want to give to that child and make a ball of light, like the size of a baseball, and put everything you want to give that child into that ball. And I want you to take that and literally install it right in her heart. It's not a discussion. It's not a possibility. It's like, this is you. This child is a part of you. So take what you choose and literally put it right into the heart of the child. And that's a direct shift, if you will. And then just kind of sit with that and feel it ripple through you. There you go. Okay. Now I want you to take that same ball and put it into the cell, right into the DNA and the histones, right into that place where your cell and the energy of the cell carries the effect of being pickled. So take that, put it right in there, and just focus on that one cell and how that cell shifts and feels. There. So it's interesting because it's like the cell has to kind of soak in that, and which makes sense because how long was the soaking happening from the time of your mother's conception through the time that you were conceived? That's a lot of soaking. So it's okay for this light to soak for a while. It's not going to take that many years. It's because your intent is clear that you're releasing the pickling effect and putting in there you go. There you go. You're releasing that pickling effect, putting in the effect of this. Okay. Where he says, like the cell is dancing and vibrating higher. Cool, right? Because this is stuff you don't even know you're carrying, right? Because it's a challenge. Like we're always looking. I mean, I look for memos everywhere, and I get a lot of memos from reading novels, not self-help books, novels, um, because I can see things there, and that'll give me places I couldn't necessarily see in myself. Because something like this is not held where there's emotion. This, you can see the effect of it in your life, but how do you find that, oh, this is rooted in this, pickled egg thing? Who'd come up with that, right? So it's part of it is the just kind of exploring energy and watching the flows and having the discussion. And when Patricia gave me this piece of information, I could see all kinds of energy lines around it. Of course, then I have to figure out how to unravel them, which is a whole different project. And that's what I do, right? It's like this is my hobby. This is how I play. I'm a little weird that way. And So, all right. Okay. So now I want you to take that same that same ball. It's interesting because we're going for the egg. That same ball with all of the things that you put in it, with all the love and the comfort and the gratitude and the recognition and the acceptance, all of that. Take all of that, okay, and the perspective, that bigger picture perspective, and bring that to the moment of conception and give it to the egg there. Now, you can do the whole thing for the moment of conception where the egg and the sperm are joined. Yep, you can do both. I would go with the spot of the moment of conception. There's a spirit presence of your conception because that's where you're connecting. And then there's the physical entities of the egg and the sperm that become the foundation of your body. They're the origin of your body. Sarah says she's glad I'm weird that way. Thank you. It's useful, right? And see, there's that validation. Very nice. I appreciate the validation. I enjoy it. So be aware, because aim is everything. Be aware of the physical aspect where you're aiming for the egg, you're aiming for the sperm, you're aiming for the conception, which is where those things come together to make the origin of yourself and the spirit of you that comes in that goes with that. And bring all of that love, all of that perception to all of that. Okay, we're going to let that soak for a bit. My friend in Jersey makes pickled eggs in beet juice with, like she makes pickled beets and then she takes the, kind of pink, whatever fuchsia color you want to call that from the beets and pickles eggs in it. So her pickled eggs are pink. So you can definitely change things. There are all kinds of messages, right? Okay, so we get the origin. Now think about from that, yeah, Pat Mine says cool. From that point of origin, think of bringing that energy, so surround the spirit, the physical aspects, and bring it forward through time and across time, because we want to get all of the karma stuff. Think about bringing it forward through every moment so that you're getting all of the energy and all the physical aspects and all the spaces in between. Think about bringing it forward through from your conception all the way through your gestation, all the way through your birth, all the way through your growth, right up till now. Take your time. And if you feel like it drops, just go right back to the beginning. Go right back to the beginning, to that conception moment. And it's like surround the conception. So as they come together, there's a sort of an energy of them coming together. Put all that energy there for that. And then bring it forward gently, slowly. Okay. Bring it forward, bring it forward. Gently, slowly. Your body has to adjust to this, so take your time. Yes, and if something pops into your head that you wish you had added to the ball, yes, you can just go right back to the beginning and put it in and bring it forward from there. That's okay. Yes. That says pure joy. Yeah, and if you start to feel like physical aches and pains, slow down, back up to the beginning, and come forward again. And give yourself space to process this. This is, can we say deep-seated change? Because we're talking about changing at the DNA level, at stuff like we didn't even know was there. And is like we've done stuff we didn't know was there before. It's all about figuring out how to aim at it. So it's the intent that makes the energy be able to go there. It's just be patient because this is really deep-seated. Ray said it got stuck at a time where your babies are conceived. So you can carry it through your system and through all of your tissue. You can't make them accept it. So, once a baby is conceived in you, that's interesting because when you're a fetus, the eggs are already inside you too, right? So you can soak those eggs and you can bring it forward to the moment of your child's conception. You have to let them go with whatever they choose. So you can put it there, you can offer it to them, you can offer it going forward for them. Okay, that's it. And it's allow it to come forward with you without trying to impose it on them. It's an offering. You can't make them. That's why I had to talk about that, isn't it? See, sometimes things come so clear. So it's all about your aim. It's like, this is there, you can have it, can't make them. I do know, and many of you have experienced that when I shift, there's a ripple, right? It always has an effect. That's it. You can bring the energy past this moment into the future. What you're doing then is saying, this possibility exists. You can't force it on your future because you have free will, which means you can change your mind at any time. And we get so frustrated sometimes because I say, well, okay, so I want to choose health. Why can't I just choose health for my entire life? Like, why do I have to keep choosing? Well, because you have free will. That's why. You can change your mind at any time. So you can bring this energy into the future timelines. There are so many of them, right? Because there's all these different possibilities depending on the choices you make. So you can saturate those timelines with this love. You can't impose it on yourself any more than you can impose it on anyone else. Okay. Pat says, how does that impact past relationships? Like with anything for the past, it's always about letting go. The more you can let go, the more you give yourself a clean slate for moving forward to say, something different could occur. So what I said about changing your eye color is if you did that, if you shifted your eye color so it was different, most people are not going to know. They will remember you as having the new eye color as if it never changed. And probably you will too. And so if you make a very deep change in a relationship, you won't necessarily realize that a change occurred. And even if you do, chances are they won't. So what the challenge can be for someone who's conscious is you make a big shift. Suddenly the people around you are behaving like aliens have invaded their body. They're totally not the same people they were. And you have to be fast enough on your feet to interact with what they're presenting, to give it a chance to be new and different. Because we have the habits of how we interact with people, right? So the more you can give yourself a clean slate for every interaction, the more you can allow it to be different, the more it can be, right? If you go in with expectations, they're going to respond to that. They're going to do exactly what you expect. It's a challenge because, you have memories and you don't lose those, except when you change your eye color, right? That's why it can sometimes feel like a shock when people are so different or when they behave in a way that you don't expect. Right? We've all had that experience. I remember Gary telling the story at the transformation workshop. We did some big chunk of work, and he said, went for Christmas, and the brother-in-law, who always was, obnoxious. He said, like by the end of the night, he was hugging him, and Gary's like, I don't even know what to do with this person. He's not even the same guy. And that's the story, right? If you allow it to be different, if you kind of go in watching to see, well, where are they now? And if something big has changed, one of the things they're looking for is for you to validate their belonging, validate that you still have a relationship, because they sometimes feel like you've cut them off because you're so different. They don't necessarily know how to connect to you. It can be really useful when you do a big chunk of work like this to go and, kind of look at the love lines and just be aware of the flow in the love lines, because that will help comfort the people around you. And I often say, when you make a big shift like this, do that. Go up 3 chakras from your crown and just spray it from there so that they get the sense of the shift and they feel safe with it. You can also do it by singing that bowl, right? The one that's 3 chakras up. Okay. All right. Anybody got any aches and pains that haven't released? Okay. No comments. Good. Perfect. I always say this, this is one that it would be useful to do again. Oh, Michelle has one. Because the more you do it, the deeper you will be able to go. She says, just her heart skipping, as if that was a just. Seriously. So I think that let's do the love line thing, because I think that scared you. And it's always good for everybody. So think about the people in your life that you want to make sure are confident that you love them. So pick one person to do first. Pick one person and just find, okay, put you and them in a ball of light. I tend to shorthand, and I have to stop myself from shorthanding. Put them in a ball of light with you. Find the connections between you. Now find the love line. And for now, just allow yourself to be aware of flow in the love line. So there will be love going to them. there will be love coming to you. And that's true, you know, if they're an axe murderer, it's true if they hate your guts, it's true if they love you to bits, because the love line exists because of your soul. It's not about your human relationship, if you will. So let's do that one. So just focus on that one for a moment. Sarah says right shoulder. So that's about feeling responsible. So there's a part of you that is inclined to kind of fall back into old ways of relating with people because that's their comfort zone. So you can think about, if you focus on that love line and you're aware, there's a flow of love from you to that person, regardless of, you know, how you actually think of them. You might hate their guts. There's still going to be a flow of love because you both have a soul. So if you focus on that love and allow yourself to be aware of that love, and then allow yourself to be aware that you can't control their outcome. And so that's how you let go of that stuff that's going on in your right shoulder, because you really, like so many of us, you want to control their outcome because you want the people around you to be happy. It makes your life a lot easier if they're happy. And it's allowing yourself to let go of that, allowing yourself to be aware that the love is there for them. Okay? So you've got that person, pick another person, put them in the ball, find the connection, leave them there. We're going to gather a whole bunch in the ball. Leave them there. Find the love line, pay attention to the flow of love. Pay attention to accepting, letting go of the outcome for this person as well. Yes, it's a challenge, isn't it? Now pick another one, a person that you care about. Put them in the ball, find the connection, pay attention to the flow of love. Let go of their outcome. Now just think about who you need to do this with. You can do them individually or you can do them en masse. Find the love line, be aware of the flow. Yes, you can do it with a pet. It doesn't matter what the person, whether they think you love them or not. It's irrelevant whether they think you love them. They might want to kill you. It's whether you care about them. It's anybody you feel responsible for. It's about, when we feel responsible, it means we care to choose our effect on that person. So you could say, I care to choose my effect on China. You know, you could say, I choose my effect on any child. Like, you know, it's up to you where you want to aim with this. It can be individuals, it could be pets. What you're doing is responsibility. Your responsibility is where you choose your effect. And the edge of your capacity for that is your territory. You can only choose your effect in your territory. The struggle we have is to tell the truth about where we can control our effect. So I can say, you know, I'd like to choose my effect on China. I don't have the scope for that. Okay, so I can send love to China, sure. Okay, I could pick a foster child in China and send money for the foster child. I don't have the resources to determine outcomes in China, right? And so it's tell the truth about the scope of your resources. And it's interesting because if you have a desire to send energy to China, it's a distraction. Sure, you can do it, but it's a distraction because really, if there's something you're worried about in China, you need to look inside yourself and say, what is this mirroring for me? What am I worried about in China that I need to love inside myself? Because everything in the world is something that's an expression of you. If you want to shift it, focus inward. Focus inward. Somebody says, getting a rash on my left knee. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So anytime it's a rash, it's a weave. So think about flushing your weave. This is everybody. Pay attention to, oh, Judy. Okay, Judy's getting a rash on her knee. Flush your weave. Because what's happening is we're doing all this interaction stuff with the love lines and you're taking stuff on. So just flush out the weave. Flush it through all of the connections. Because what we usually do when we go at love lines is we melt away all the connections and only use, until only the love line is there. We disconnect everything else, and we didn't do that tonight. That's why you're having trouble with your weave, which is always a good thing to recognize. I knew if we got distracted with flushing all the other connections, we wouldn't get to as many releasing. Judy said she got the rash when she started to put a friend in the line. Yep, that tells you something, doesn't it? What are you taking on? Okay, so everybody that you care about your effect, find the love line, be aware of the flow of love in both directions, let go of the outcome, flush your weave. Okay, now release your awareness of that person. The love line will stay. It's always there. Whether you're paying attention to it or not, it's always there. So just release your awareness of that person so that it kind of goes back to quote normal. Release that ball of light. Flush your weave again. Notice if there's anything sticking. Notice, kind of notice, because stuff will get, it'll say, pay attention to me. That's it. All of the people. Yes, Pat's saying we did many. Yes, I'm saying for all of them. For all of them, flush your weave. Notice the love line. Let go of the outcome. Then release your awareness of that person. So basically, you're clearing house out of the ball of light. Judy said she's having trouble letting one of them go. Gee, and you wonder why you have a rash on your knee. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So for the one you're having trouble letting go, use the love line to melt away all the other connections. Take the time to do it. And this is something we should do with everybody that we care about. I was using shorthand because we're focused on a different thing. The thing is, if you can't release it, then there's something for you to pay attention to there. So let the love line melt away all the connections until you're able to let the person go. Then flush your weave again. That's it. Michelle, how's your heart? And Sarah, how's your shoulder? Judy said, funny thing is that the person was a colleague and she didn't care that much about her. Uh-huh. Yeah, clearly it's obvious that you don't care that much about her because that's because you have the Texas heart, right? I think you care a lot more than you want to admit. I think this is a challenge because we know to let go of the outcome. So we want to tell ourselves that oh yeah, I understand. It's their journey. It's their pain. Yeah, 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 yeah. How do you not care? How do you not give a shit? And it's kind of like if you left that job and you never saw that colleague again, would you never ever wonder what became of them? And you might think, well, no, I don't think I care. Well, maybe they would pop into your mind, and that means there's still a caring there, right? Yes, Pat, you're caring for each person so that we can release them all. And you can do this in bulk because you've done it many times. Michelle says the heart's a bit better, but the weave feels stuck from the heart down. Yes. All the chakras, all the chakras from the heart down feel stuck in the weave area and over your third eye. Okay, so the reason it would feel stuck over your third eye is the third eye is all about seeing the truth, acknowledging the truth of what's going on with the people around you and what's going on with you. And if it's the weave feeling stuck from the heart down, it's feeling safe with connection, feeling safe with discovering the truth of who you are, feeling safe being in the world, right? Those are the things that you're feeling stuck about. So think about saying, okay, I'm willing to release all of that. I'm willing to discover. I'm willing to feel safe. I'm willing to know the truth of who I am and who they are and be safe with that and be you cannot ask yourself to be comfortable with other people because they will frequently impose they will do things that hurt and you can be hurt watching them that like you can't ask yourself to not care about what is going on with people. What you can do is take care of you when you do hurt, and that's why the rash on the knee, that's why your weave gets stuck, because you have to tell the truth that even people you've said, well, okay, so that's a high maintenance person, I don't want him in my life, doesn't mean like your heart doesn't come with an off switch. You don't randomly decide I don't care about that person anymore. You can recognize they're expensive and say I've had enough, and then you have to comfort yourself. You've had to comfort yourself, because I got to tell you, if there's anything harder than watching someone be in pain when you care about them, it's not knowing what they're up to, because it could be worse, right? Yeah, of course. Michelle says that's bang on. Yeah, well, And Sarah says the shoulder feels better. Good. See, we're cooking. And so now you have a resource, because if you find you're thinking about someone and kind of stewing like what's going on with them and are they in pain and and am I doing the right thing? Because in the end, you have to do what feels right for you. And that's where we get stuck, because people will make choices that cause them pain. And if we care about them, like chances are you're not going to walk away from it, because you have to do what feels right for you. It's up to you to decide. It's up to you to decide how you interact with that. And it's up to you to protect yourself from the expense of having someone who lives in pain in your life. It is what it is. They are who they are. And part of us loving unconditionally is to say that's who they are and that's what they're going to do. All right, now how do I deal with that? How do I recover from watching that? Right? How do I feed my heart and soothe myself? How do I deal with that? So we have to, we've talked a lot about comforting ourselves, and part of understanding the comfort is comfort yourself for what I like. I mean, I don't watch the news, because to me it's just like, you may as well stick a fork in your eye. The thing is, I still hear stuff that's going on, and I frequently have to pause and say, okay, I just need to comfort myself because that's around me and it's not pleasant, right? Somebody sent me an email the other day. An email said, count your blessings, because I know a person now who, her husband died suddenly and now her daughter's on her deathbed all within a week. And I thought, I didn't need to hear that. And I wrote back and said, didn't need to hear that. Like, really unnecessary. And because that's that person's journey, I don't even know them. Why do I need to witness that? And so you could say, well, okay, are you hiding from it? No, not really, because there's lots of shit in the world. I don't need it brought up in my face. There's plenty. And if you're calming, you can soothe the world, if that makes you feel better. You can put light out on all those waves that are going on. You can soothe the world. The thing is, the real trick is to turn inward and soothe you, and to soothe the parts of you inside that are hurting because of what they witness. Because fundamentally, what you do on the inside is what you manifest on the outside. So it's about loving you. So I know we're a little bit over, so we're going to wrap this up. Release the people. Release the ball of light. Go back to that one cell and just pay attention to the cell and see how it's doing. And if you feel like it, take that ball of love, the love and the accepting love, put it back in that cell and just soak it. Because I want you to see, because you've already done that cell. Michelle says her heart stopped skipping. See? Uh-huh. Good. Put the love back in that cell and just pay attention, because you've done that cell. I want you to see what happens when you do it again. Because every time you do this, you'll go deeper. And what you're able to accept for yourself, what you're able to evolve yourself will go deeper. Your frequency will go higher. Yes. Pat says the cell is throbbing but not uncomfortable. Yes, because it's a new frequency, right? Okay, so we brought the light right from conception all the way up to now. So just now, for a moment, take that light and soak all of you in it. Let's just sit in it for a minute and be aware. There's you, there's your energy, there's your physical self, there's all the child selves inside you, there's all kinds of things going on there. And just think about like pickling you in this love. Okay, now take everybody in the group and pickle them in the same love. All of us. Pat asks, a ball of light or a cell. So we went from the cell, and then we put ourselves in the light that we had, the baseball size light that we had been putting in the child's heart. We expanded that. So we put ourselves in it, soaked, and now we're going to put the whole group in it, soak. I know we're doing a lot. And so for a moment, allow yourself to be aware that all of these people in this group are giving you this love unconditionally, and allow yourself to feel it and accept it right through your cells. Allow yourself to pickle in all this love. And allow yourself to know that all of these people are accepting your love and appreciating it. Yeah, see? That's cool. Thank you, everybody. And Judy says, thank you, everybody. We're going to assume everybody says a thank you. And even the people who are not here, when they listen to this, they're going to say thank you too. Lots of appreciation, lots of accepting your love, lots of valuing your love, and allow that to soak into you. That's it. Now, bring that down into your heart so you can keep it. And I'd say, we had a good night. Yeah. Oh, Judy says it's only 8:08. Oh my goodness. I was thinking I was running over. I said, well, we're running over. I have to worry. Okay, that's great. All right, I'm going to take a breath now. See, I told you I get stoned. It's a good thing. I'm a little wired now. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Judy said, we went through time and across time. Where did you stop? Sorry, I'm laughing in everybody's ear. All right. Yeah. Michelle said I'm too funny. Yes. Okay, so we're still going to carry that in your heart. Pat says, love it. Carry that in your heart. I want you to pay attention to it sitting in your heart. And what it is everybody has given you love unconditionally. People you haven't even met have given you love. And they've accepted your love. And they valued that. So I want you to feel that in your heart. Michelle says, I did 2 hours of work. That's why it feels like I did weeks of work. So feel that in your heart. Feel that it has been accepted. It has been valued. Oh, not yet. Marie said, are we going to go fishing now? Not yet. I want you to take that feeling in your heart, and I want you to put that in a ball of light. The feeling of your love being accepted, your love being valued, the effect of your love being appreciated. I want you to put all of that, and I want you to put you accepting love from everybody else. I want you to put that, all of that, into the ball, okay, into that, baseball size ball. You accepting the love, you appreciating it, you feeling the effect of it. Okay, I want you to take all that, put it in the baseball. Now we're going back to conception, and we're going to do it with this ball. Right? Julie says it's hilarious. Yes. And you know what? And this is so funny, right? Because I'm going, oh, well, let's just take that and go back to the beginning with that and bring that through time. I wouldn't have gone through all that and said, let's bring it into your heart unless I was wrapping up. So now you have it in your heart. Let's go take it and bring it back. So let's do the same thing. Put it in the baseball of light and go back to conception with all of that and soak the egg and the sperm and all of that energy that is you. Let's soak that in that feeling. How cool is that? And see, now you have it to bring back with you. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, soak it there. Sit with it and let it soak. Be patient. I know you've done this before, so you want to rush ahead. Take your time, let it soak. It's like pickling an egg. You have to let it soak. Let it go all the way in. Let it go into the DNA. Let it go into the histones, and some of the histones will move. Pat says she's so happy. That's cool. Love that. That's it. Soak it in. Soak it into your energy. Soak it into your spirit. Soak it into everything that is the foundation of your physical presence. And then bring it forward slowly, because it has to soak. Bring it forward slowly. That's very cool. That's very cool. Slowly, slowly. You have to let your body adjust. You have to let you adjust. Excuse me. That's it. Slowly. Bring it forward through your gestation, through your birth, right forward, slowly, through time and across time, forward through. That's it. And remember, this in your gestation, it affects your eggs. So when you get to a place, if you've had a birth, even an incomplete conception, allow it to soak in there as a possibility, as an offering. That's it. So if you've had a wished for child or a miscarriage or a lost child, any of those things that would have an egg involved, because even if you wished for a child and didn't have one, there's an egg involved. So allow the energy to soak through all of that and release this potential, because you have to, again, let go of the outcome. That's it. That's it. Bring that love forward. Bring all of that experience of love forward. That's it. Take your time. That's it. That's it. And to hear. And then you have all of these potential futures. You can send the love through all of the potential futures as a possibility. You cannot impose it on your own future any more than you can impose it on somebody else because of free will. The thing is, you can kind of soak your timelines in it so that it exists as an influence. The very fact that you've brought it here will influence your future. That's it. Now just soak with it here for a while. And from here, make sure it's going all the way through. And even though you came forward in the timeline that had the child selves in it, still let it go soak in through your child selves here. Because your experience of your child selves here is different than your experience as a child as you're coming forward through the timeline. Pat's asking, can she give it to her granddaughter? You can offer it. You can't give it. You can offer it. You can't make her take it. So the possibility is there. It's up to her whether she accepts it or not. And by all means. And if you're wandering off trying to engage your granddaughter in accepting it, then you're getting distracted from working with you here. So stay focused on you here. You can talk to your granddaughter later. Every time you make a shift, it ripples. Your energy ripples through everyone around you. So the more you can stay focused on you and shifting you, the more that ripple is going to have its effect, right? The more she can feel you loving you, the more you give her permission to love herself. Okay. Okay, so now make a ball of light and choose a person that you care about, the effect you have in their life. Find all the connections between you. And just pause a moment and feel, are they different because of what you've done just now? Just have that experience of that. And check and see, find the love line, notice the flow of love into you. Are you better able to interact with that love line? Are you better able to accept the love flowing into you? Are you better able to let go of the outcome for the person on the other end of the love line? Because the outcome includes their capacity to interact with the love. Can you allow your awareness of there's love flowing into them, regardless, because you have a soul and they have a soul? Can you let go of the outcome for them? Because they may not know. They may not. Who knows? They may be totally aware of it. They may be totally unaware. That's theirs, right? So allow yourself to just be aware with that. That's saying it doesn't matter who you choose for letting go of the outcome. No, it doesn't. Just pick a person, find that love line, and just be aware of the love flowing into you and into them because the love line exists. And the letting go of the outcome is allowing yourself to accept the truth that you can't control whether they know they're loved or not, or how they feel, or whether they're in pain. And can you allow the love that flows into you to comfort you? Because they may or may not feel loved. That's not up to you. You don't determine if they feel loved. Can you allow the love of the love line flowing into you to comfort you? That's it. So allow yourself to be aware of who inside you needs that comfort. It may be you right now. It may be some child inside you. Allow yourself to be aware of who in you needs that comfort and take that love that you're holding in your heart, the accepting and the giving and the appreciating, and bring it to that part of you and put it in their heart. Just like, the baseball of light, put it right in their heart. That's it. Now, if you want to, use the love and the love line to melt away all the other connections. And one of the things that does is kind of like a quick and dirty unlock, if you will. If you melt away all those other connections, you allow a new connection to form. There's always the love line. The thing is, if you have a relationship with this person, when you melt away all those things, you allow a new one to establish with, the new energy of you, if you will. And your focus on the love line allows them to feel safe with that. you go. You can think, if there's a relationship, whatever you want to call it. I know Pat used one of her sons. You could say, okay, this is the mother-son relationship. You can allow that to establish, or you can say, you know what, I'm just going to love this person and let you discover who they are to you if you're not trying to impose a relationship on it. Everyone wants to feel loved. Everyone. And that's why people, that the stuff they say about family, family are the people who have to take you back, even if they don't like you. All of that stuff is saying this is where you belong. So when you are a source of love for someone, they're going to want that. Even if they squawk about it, they're going to want it. So it's the more you can allow those things to melt away and allow it to kind of be unconditional. And if you can appreciate the fact that they're in your life, they are a source of love for you, regardless of what they got going on in their head. They're a source of love for you because of that love line. So if you can appreciate that and appreciate that they're a place for you to give love, that's an expression of you there because they have a love line with you, then this becomes a place for you to see mirrors, to express the love you are, and you can free it from all kinds of other things. And when you catch yourself, having, I don't know, thoughts about how you wish it could be or judgments, then the more you can strip away and get yourself down to those love lines, the more you allow a change. Okay. So when you feel like you've kind of got that one cleaned up, then bring another person in. And you can bring multiple people if you like. She hopes she's not attached to the outcome. And that's what we struggle with because we know better. The thing is, you still have a heart, you're still a human being. And so you have to be patient with yourself and have some compassion that, of course you care if people are hurting. And how can you comfort yourself? Right? The more you can tell the truth of what you're feeling, the more you can give yourself comfort, the more you can love you, the more you can allow this to be love. Right? The more you love yourself, the more love expresses in your life. So bring other people in, find the love lines, allow yourself to feel the love flowing in. Be aware of the love flowing to them, whether they're capable of being aware or not. You can know it's there. And appreciate it. Appreciate the fact that they're a source of love. Appreciate they're a source for you to love. And they will show you in their reaction to your love, they will show you places where you aren't ready to love yourself. And that can help you get to the place where you can love yourself and help that relationship evolve. That's it. And if you're ready, allow that love line to melt away all the other connections. That's it. That's kind of cool. We did good. That's it. I know you're still doing it. I'm just watching. All these people you care about. This new capacity to appreciate is available because of the work we did with the timeline. both sets of work we did with the timeline, because we had to do the first one to get to the second one, right? Pat says tonight couldn't have happened at a better time. That's how it works. Isn't it great? Yeah. That is how it works. I was saying, I'm going to chat. You guys are still clearing things on love lines and stuff, and that's okay. And it's just cooking. We're letting it cook. I was saying to you, most of my information these days comes from novels. And part of that is my schedule is reduced. I don't, I'm not working the hours I used to work, so I have time, and I'm reading, and I see the messages and I see the memos, and then I take them back and use those. And I think I told you last month, I was aware of all these things from my experiences in the parks and stuff about, how people don't connect and things like that. I explained all that last month. So I mean, there's plenty of messages that if you want to pay attention, you don't have to have drama in your life to get the clues of what you can work on to make your life better. And it just keeps getting better. That's the best part. I noticed something that was bugging me, and that is I've noticed that the stuff coming out of Hollywood for the last multiple years, and I'm not sure exactly how many years this goes back, but it's been a while, is very derogatory to men. And we were watching this Star Trek, the new Star Trek is Star Trek Discovery, right? So the two, in the beginning shows, the two main characters are female, the captain and the first officer. And then the captain dies and the first officer ends up in the new ship. So in the new ship, the captain is crazy, and then he ends up being a bad guy. There's a sort of an engineer type who's doing research, and he's a bit crazy. And there's a doctor who's the partner of they're a gay couple, the partner of the engineering type. And in all the other Star Treks, if the doctor wants to override the captain and say medically this is not allowed, like the doctor can even take the captain out of service. He can say, you're not fit for service. In this one, the captain overrides the doctor constantly, so he ends up not being able to save his lover. And then there's another male character who says his people used to be cattle, like they were literally eaten. So he's very much not a strong character. So I'm watching all this and I'm going, they're not allowing any of the male characters. They're either crazy or they're weak, or they can't protect. It's so disempowering. And I look back at, there's so many movies I've seen this in, and it's really irking me because I know it's a symptom of a pendulum swing. I know it's a symptom of women are trying to figure out how to have female power. It's a backlash from, years of feeling persecuted. The thing is, the problem is the backlash is becoming destructive, and that's not okay because you have all this generation of men, boys who are watching these movies and they don't have any heroic characters to model. And even so, that we watched Black Panther, which is like a comic book movie, and the king character wasn't strong. The hero wasn't even strong. He kept fumbling and having problems. And that doesn't mean they have to be mindlessly perfect or anything. It's the awareness that if there's kids there that are, and boys that are trying to figure out how to be heroic or how to model themselves as a male, where are their characters? Because, Deadpool's not really what you want as an ideal hero. Funny as hell, the movie, but, not necessarily the character you want them to model. So I'm looking at this going, where are they going to find their heroes? Where are they going to find who they want to model? And there's really an absence, there's a huge absence of these male characters in movies and shows. It's driving me nuts, making me crazy. So they're part of our world. And I think we need to embrace our energy, our male energy that's inside us, so we can help that heal. Maybe we're doing that tonight. I thought we'd be doing that next month. Okay, so I want to look at these love lines, pay attention to who you've brought in. See, kind of take an inventory because you're all cooking that while I'm chatting away. Check the love lines, feel if you can connect with the feeling the love, because we've done that a lot, but can you feel the love with appreciation? Can you appreciate the fact that the love is also going to somebody, whether they can appreciate it or not? Can you appreciate it? Can you appreciate that they're a mirror for you to show you where you're not loving you? Okay, so let's pick one. Pick one of the people that you've brought into that circle, that you've found the love lines. Pick one where you feel like the relationship on the other end of the love line is not what you wish it was. Maybe you feel like they don't feel loved or they don't appreciate you, or, like the connection's just not what you wish it could be. Okay, so be aware of that. Now take that awareness and look inside you and find the part of you that feels that you think you are not what you should be. Whatever that person, whatever you feel about that person that you feel is missing in the relationship, is missing in a relationship you have inside yourself. So find the part of you that has the same thing missing in the relationship you have with that part of you. Pat says, why can't they be female heroic models? We had male heroic models. Yes, but they were male heroic models. They weren't ours. So Pat's saying, why can't the guys see the female heroic models and quote use them? Because they're not women. And we grew up with the Superman and all those different heroic models, and they didn't apply to us, right? Judy says the girl at the office who she thinks is a total mess. I don't think that. She says I don't think that of myself. Yes, there is a part of you inside you that you do think is a total mess. So that means that maybe there's a teenager inside you think is a total mess. Maybe there's an 8-year-old you think is a total mess. There's some place in your life where you thought of yourself as being a total mess and you still hold that feeling about that part of yourself. Yes, got it. Okay. So whatever you saw, whatever you feel like about that person, you have a feeling about that, about an element of you. So find that part of you and then take that baseball with all that love and appreciation and accepting love and giving love with appreciation and right into the heart of that part of you, right into the heart. Yeah. Sarah says, came to hear I am not reaching myself fully. Yeah, exactly. Pat says, very young child, you. Yeah. Everybody's a mirror. And what we've done, I mean, and you know that, and you've done lots of work with mirroring. The thing is, because you've now opened up a new ability to feel appreciation for love, you can see things you couldn't see before we did this. That's it. So that's it. And it's focus on the releasing it inside you. If you want to take the same love and offer it to the other person, you absolutely can. The thing is, the love line is there anyway. So the vibration you shift when you do the work inside yourself, that vibration goes through the love line to them. So it's offered whether you think to offer it or not. That's why the ripple effect occurs, right? Because it goes out through all the love lines. That's it. So take that baseball with all the love stuff in it right into that heart. And then feel it, because it ripples through you too, right? Okay. So these are all people that you care about. So when you feel ready, so you've resolved those, release them. And I know we did one where we said, okay, what is the relationship that you don't want it to be? You can go back and do those on your own, because I want to do the harder one to show you, to give you an experience of doing it. Okay. So release those people. And then in that ball of light, pick one person where the relationship is not what you want it to be, where they're not someone that you consider in the list of you care about. Judy says, I want to put it in the hearts of all the child selves. And we did that on the way through. And then what I said is, now take it and soak yourself in it and bring it out into all of the child selves while you're sitting here soaking, because your experience of the child selves here is different than the experience of the child selves coming through the timeline where they were the child. Okay. So let's do that. Pay attention to it, because it feels different to you when you aim at one, right? Because that's all this is. This is an experience of discovering where to aim. That's what that person gives you as your mirror. They say, oh, look, you could aim here. You could aim here. So now put the ball of light with all of those loves and appreciations into you and soak it into your child selves again. And this time you feel differently about how you aim. Cool. All right. So now in the ball of light, where we've been exploring with the timelines, with the love lines, I want you to bring someone who, it could be somebody you consider an adversary. It could be somebody you consider just a problem. Somebody who wasn't in the grouping of these are people you care about your effect. It could be a problem person in your life. It could be somebody like from your past who haunts you, for instance, somebody who's hurt you that's no longer in your life. Just think of something that needs to be dealt with, kind of thing. And then find the love line, start with that. Okay, now because this is an adversarial kind of position, it's more important to start with using the love line to melt away all the other connections. We did it in the other direction previously, so this time, because of the nature of the relationship, find the love line and then use the love of the love line to just melt away everything else, every other connection you have with this person. And some of them are very old and some of them are not necessarily, you're not necessarily aware of them. So take your time with this. Take your time, allow the light of the love line to kind of find other connections you may not be aware of. If it's someone you feel like they hurt you, for sure you're going to have guilt. And you think, well, wait a minute, they're the one who hurt me. I promise you there's going to be a guilt line. There always is. There's going to be grief. There's lots of things you may not expect to be there. So just allow the love line to kind of light up all those connection places. They may be anchored in a different part of your body, or they may be anchored in a different time. Allow yourself to find all those and let the love line melt them away. And when you think you're done, do it again. Because the ones you released the first time will allow you to see ones you couldn't see because they were kind of hidden by the ones that you released the first time. And how do you know you're done with that? When you feel neutral about the person, when they kind of become irrelevant. And so then there's still a love line. Pat says, can she do it with her deceased brother? Yes, you absolutely can. Okay. So when you feel like you've melted the lines away, just pay attention to the love line and focus on allowing yourself to be aware of the love flowing in from the love line and appreciating that. Aware of the love flowing into the other person, regardless of whether they can appreciate it, and let go of that outcome. Pat says, whoa, this is going to be about being heard. Yes. So just being aware of the flow, being aware of allowing yourself to feel the flow and appreciate the flow. And you can appreciate the flow into the other person, regardless of their capacity to appreciate it. It's irrelevant what's going on with them. It's part of this is to let go of the outcome with them and allow yourself to appreciate the fact that there's a flow into them as well, regardless of what's going on with them. That's part of letting go of the outcome. It's a part of valuing who you are. Pat says she's not wearing hearing aids anymore. Congratulations. We keep shifting. It keeps changing. So now think about that person and what it's much more neutral now, so you have to kind of reassess, what are they showing you about a place that you don't love you? When you think about them, what do you think what do you think is missing for them? What do you think they're like, maybe they're very negative? What is it that they're showing you? Because they're showing you something about you. So allow yourself to identify what they're showing you. That's it. Allow yourself to be aware of what they're showing you, and then take that ball of light with all of this love and appreciation and put it right into the heart of you, the version of you that's holding that. kind of soaking it in and being aware, because this gives you a way to aim, and it's always about aim. It's always about the aim. Hang on, I'll turn on the light, guys. Just give me a sec. The sun is going down.
Hi, gang. I guess Trish has dropped off for a minute. She'll probably try to get back in. So if we can just hang in there for a minute or two, she'll probably be back shortly, hopefully anyway. Mackie, she did get the light back on, so I see your comment there. So we'll see what whether she should come back in fairly shortly, hopefully. Hold on, everyone. Trish is just sending me a text, I think, but I have to step away to get my phone. So just give me a minute and we can just, as Mackie says, continue to steep in our love juices and see what happens. So I'm going to step away for a second. You should still have video and I'll be back shortly. Yeah, Trish says her internet crashed, so she is trying to get back in. So hopefully she'll be back in a couple of minutes or very shortly. I'll just respond to Trish. Oh, I hear Trish. Okay, Trish, let me just present you. Okay. She's back, but it might take a minute.
Aha.
Yay.
Yay. I had to go on my iPad. Turn it this way, yes. So the computer's still trying to come up. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Okay, so where we were. Oops. Don't hold the iPad in front of the camera in case the other one comes up. where we were was releasing all this stuff about the person that we don't necessarily have in our territory, or the person that might have been a problem. So the last thing I was saying was you can put the ball of light down the love line if you want to. It's not really necessary because it ripples out from your energy anyway. Okay. So pay attention to, oh, it looks like the computer one's coming up. Pay attention to releasing this person now. The love line will stay in place, but the whole idea is to let it go. Yeah, my internet is completely crashed. That's interesting. Oops. Keep the camera. Release the person, release the ball of light, and then go back and focus on what you're holding in your heart. Focus on what you're holding in your heart. And now bring it out from your heart around you again. And just soak yourself for a while. And as you were paying attention, soak it through your child selves. Kind of take everything that you've learned and allow that to soak through your child selves, because it's always about aim. And then bring it back to your heart to kind of hold it so that you have it. And you can take it out and use it anytime you want. Okay. So now this time we are going to call it a night. Any last comments? I don't see chat on here. I don't know how to do chat on here. I have no idea how to do this. Okay. Well, I can't see any last and final comments, so I'm going to assume a whole bunch of thank yous.
Yeah, we're not seeing any comments, Trish, other than thank yous. So
okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Perfect. And thank you, Judy, for holding the fort, because this is why it doesn't all fall to pieces when I blow up my internet. And we will see you all next month. We had a good night. Thank you. So, Judy, when you're ready, stop the broadcast.